All right, welcome back. Dana White Contender Series, Week 7 recap. Once again, we're here to talk about our winners, the fights themselves, the losers, everything in between.
Yeah.
All the decisions that Dana White made, the contracts handed out. I mean, just everything about tonight's episode. So, per usual, we will start with the first fight. We will go fight by fight, give our thoughts. At the end, we will kind of do our individual power rankings for tonight's winners.
Sure.
Award our contracts, which of course matter a lot more than Dana's.
They do.
That'll be it. So we start. It makes sense for this to be the first fight, Dominic, because it was our flyweights constantly being put on the bottom of the cards.
Yeah.
Igor da Silva, second round TKO over Jhonata Silva. A lot of Silvas there. Round 2, 2 minutes, 37 seconds in. This fight picked up. This was a tale of two rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah. Kind of out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, round 1, just kind of flowing. Not a whole, not a ton happening, at least in comparison.
Sure.
Round 2 comes, and both guys just kind of said, "I'm fucking tired of doing this. Let's just
all hell broke loose." Yeah.
And it became very clear that Igor da Silva, even at 20 years young, is a stud, and that guy is legit. And Dana White did give him the contract, even though he has really tried not to give contracts to the youngest or the oldest. He talked about that constantly tonight when he was giving out contracts about, guys under 24, guys above the age of like 28, 29. Very hard to get contracts on this show. Igor da Silva did it, Dominic. So why did he do it? How did he get this contract? What did you see that made it? And what do you think Dana saw to give that to him?
I think Dana saw that shiny 8-0 record. He saw that shiny 100% finish rate. He listed off that he's a jungle fight champion. All those accolades, Noah. Comes into the Contender Series at 20 years young, as you said, and gets a TKO finish to really cap off all of those accolades. That's enough to sign up Igor to the UFC flyweight division. Dana even said, he has all these great things, a champion in jungle fight. I want to see if he can be a champion in the UFC. Hello, Uncle Dana. Those are some big words we're throwing around here for a 20-year-old. I don't even know if he said anything about a champion to Raul Rosas Jr. when he was 17 years old last year. So some big praises. Yeah, praises. That's the right word for Igor da Silva. But I'll say they were warranted. And, well, if it's a flyweight, you can sign me a no up for it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to show through in our power rankings. Me and Dominic, we cherish the flyweights. We protect the flyweights. We put them in our little. We put the little guys in our pockets. Protect them, cradle them like a little baby. No, they would kill us with one finger, but
literally,
Igor da Silva looks very promising, and to be just 20 years old, to have all that, Dana said his first professional fight is 15 years old. I've been in a flyweight division that kind of needs more and more guys and more talent. I'm excited to see what you're going to do with a guy like this, because Dominic, with the flyweights more than any other division, you get a couple wins and you're all of a sudden looking at top 15 competition. So he's going to be tested pretty quickly.
He absolutely will be, and that makes it even more exciting, that contract signing.
Then we move on to our second fight, another contract given out. This was where the kind of elder debate part came in for Dana. I believe, oh boy, here comes the
This is a big one. Yep, big name.
Kaynan Kruschewsky.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
But you already knew I was going to say that.
Yeah, I don't think you must not have really had a good grasp on it either. He gets the first round submission over Dylan Mantello, I believe that's how it's pronounced. 2 minutes, 52 seconds of round number 1. Kaynan, 32 years old, Dominic. A little bit on the older side, but he did have a lot of experience.
Tons,
And I thought he looked really good. I thought he looked phenomenal here. He made pretty quick work of Mantello. So, Dominic, do you kind of agree with the contract, all that?
Yeah, like Dana said, 32 years old, right? But he's right in that sweet spot, so he's not completely out of those prime years. Great record, tons of experience, and Dana kind of in a way was like, time's not on your side, so I can just take you and throw you in a little bit deeper than what some of these other people are. A problem for Kaynan is, well, he's a lightweight, so the water gets deep very, very fast. He may have to tread some very tough waters in his UFC debut, but he may just be able to tackle those.
So I was planning to make this joke, and then Kaynan kind of ruined it by he did have the real burst of emotion after he was finally told, all right, come on over, kid.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hear Dana talking about, him and what he can do with him in the UFC, if you notice, Kaynan just no selling all this. And I was gonna come on here and be I think in his mind, he's wait a minute, you're telling me I'm gonna be fighting Justin Gaethje or
First
Dustin
fight.
Poirier?
Yeah.
First fight?
Yeah.
I mean, are you gonna treat me like a big yellow bus, Magomedov, and put me in a main event against a
Top
future
5
world
main event.
champion and my second UFC fight? I
Yeah.
thought maybe he was having some second thoughts about
Yeah.
all this, but no, he looked okay. Then he, drops to his knees, throws, the end of Shawshank Redemption, throws his arms out in the air. Okay,
Yeah.
well, he ruined the bit, but no, he looked really good. That's an interesting other thing. I've never really taken that into account. At least I don't think so with my power rankings. The whole age factor, but it
Yeah,
probably
that's
should
another
be
one.
if you're
Yeah.
evaluating a prospect. I mean, a 32-year-old, time is not on your side compared to a guy who's 20 years old. And
Yeah.
divisions, of course, we take that into account. And here we made some history tonight, Dominic.
Yeah, we did. Yes, we did.
The first draw in Dana White Contender Series history.
Something in the air, I guess,
Stephanie Luciano and Talita Alencar go to distance.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting fight.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, I think the reason this was a draw comes down to the fact that Luciano put on a complete talk about a 10-8. That round 3. Every bit of that. And Dana White made sure to throw some shade about that scoring in the main event from last Saturday by saying that's a 10-8 right there. Yeah. So Talita was able to get that fight to the ground in rounds 1 and 2. She looked pretty good. And then round 3 came and Luciano just really laid it on. So what did you think, Dominic? I will admit there were points of this fight that I felt like I kind of checked out of, and it's not necessarily due to the quality of the fight. I just kind of got wrapped up in a TikTok rabbit hole.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. So give me your kind of story of the fight. What did you think?
Oh man, the story for me is that round 3, Stephanie Luciano is a very, very good strawweight. But the problem is there's 10 more minutes of that fight that she wasn't that strawweight. And that's where it kind of fell for me here in this draw. It was clear that she was down 2-0, but Alencar was gassed, donezo on the stool. Going into the third round, she didn't even want to get up when Stephanie would kick her legs laying on the ground. She didn't even want to get up during the fight, and she just had nothing really to offer in that third round. So not only did Luciano have a great round with striking, I believe it was 54-9 or something like that, defended double-digit takedowns in one single round. Everything looked great. It's just a shame she couldn't put that together for more than 5 minutes. But that round was enough for not only me to be impressed by Luciana, but enough for Dana to give a contract to someone that didn't win, didn't lose, but did fight to a draw, the first draw in Contender Series history. Definitely interesting that Dana went with that decision. It'll be fun to talk about that in the power rankings, but I'll say at 23 years old, a good record. I did like what I saw from Stephanie. Can we, now that she's in the UFC, regardless of if I would have gave a contract or not, can I see more round 3 Stephanie in rounds 1 and 2 in her debut?
This was, I'll say this, maybe part of the reason I checked out. It's not because the fight was bad, but I think it was very frustrating to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Now she is Stephanie, 23 years old. I wasn't really aware of that while watching. That does kind of paint her in a better picture for me.
Sure.
But really, the story stays the same here. Neither girl could go a full 15 minutes of looking like a UFC level fighter.
Yeah.
Now, at points, they each kind of looked like it.
Yeah.
But then when they didn't, it was the furthest thing from.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, Talita in round 3, back against the wall, you're gassed. Just did not look good. Like, just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Not, yeah.
telegraph spamming takedown attempts. I mean, I get it. I'm sure it was tough. Who knows what she had going on coming in, but just, I mean, really kind of let that one slip when
Yeah.
she was up 2 rounds. Because man, if she had just done anything,
Yeah.
maybe you get a 10-9, especially with 10-8s being all the
Yeah.
rage right now. You don't think that might be in the some of these judges' minds of like being careful about 10-8s?
Yeah.
She left them no choice. Luciano just took so long to really get there, and it took her opponent becoming, well, much less of who she was in the first 2 rounds.
Yep.
And even then, could not find the finish, Dominic. And I feel like Dana said he saw something with her, 23 years old.
Yeah. He felt that
She had it.
special feeling. Yeah.
But I feel the frustrations with Luciano should be, in theory, the same that a lot of people have with Josephine Knudsen,
Mm.
where very talented striking, especially in round 3, did not go for the finish. Now, different reasons for that. Knudsen, I think the frustration is because she really, for some reason, tends to clinch a lot while
Hmm.
dominating the striking.
Yeah.
For Luciano here, though, it just she found herself in some weird grappling transitions where it seemed like I felt like she wasn't, the ground IQ maybe wasn't up to the rest of her game. Because did you notice,
Hmm.
Dominic, like her arm got trapped and
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
let Talita grab a hold of her foot and stuff? Like,
Yeah. Even in that
maybe,
third round,
yeah,
some
like,
of it
obviously
happened. Yeah.
nothing came of it, but it allowed Talita to get up to her feet.
Yeah.
It just felt like Luciana was just, like, way overconfident when she was down there, and obviously, maybe there was for good reason, but it seems like with someone that's a little more, I mean, this was someone very talented in terms of their jiu-jitsu background, but a fresher version of this
Hmm.
fighter potentially is able to, really make some good work out of having the arm trapped or the foot
Yeah.
trapped, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think the draw is the right scorecard. I don't know if I agree with giving either a contract here,
Yeah.
quite frankly. I think if you're gonna go to a decision on this show and get a contract, you need to be the better fighter for those 15 minutes.
Yeah. Got to get a win. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess in theory, a draw would be fine. But to me, it's just like there were. I mean, the lows for each one were so much lower than what their highs were. That
I'd like to know
you're.
more of that, like, it factor for Dana, what it was with
Did
Stephanie.
you not see that?
No, like, just what it was to him. He said he has that special feeling in that it factor, but I
Well,
wonder
right,
what
but I'm guessing
made
you
that click.
didn't see that
Oh,
because
you mean
you.
like me personally see it?
Yeah,
Not to that extent, no. Like I
right, and
said,
I get that. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, we never know, but like it's sometimes you can kind of just see it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Sometimes
didn't
you, I
get
mean,
that.
you had that with Jack, right? You
Yeah,
had
yeah,
that
yeah.
with him on the show. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it happens, and for her, you just didn't. I mean, but maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, she kind of has the look, 23. She's got like that look of someone who could, not. I don't. I mean, I don't want to put too much pressure on her, but like, to be, if she was to end up being like the face of women's MMA,
Mhm.
let's just say, like, she's a pretty girl. She's kind of got that look of someone who you could kind of, put in front and
Yeah.
say, like, this is our representative for women's MMA.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little bit of that, a little bit of the, how young she is, but maybe how well developed certain
She
parts of
had
her game are.
big size advantage too, in
Sure.
this fight too. I wonder how natural of a 115er she is, or if she can ever dabble to even flyweight
hmm
potentially too.
Yeah. So now for our co-main event, Dominic, Daniel Allen comes in a
Mm,
2-1 underdog, upsets Jacoby Jones via unanimous decision, Dominic. A lot of people were excited about Jacoby Jones coming in.
mhm.
Daniel Allen squashes that pretty quickly and honestly pretty definitively, but
He looked
yet does
good.
not get the contract.
Yeah.
5-0, 30, was he 32, 31?
I
No,
think
30.
he's 30, yeah.
Did you kind of agree with the I guess the reasoning behind Dana not giving the contract, and what did you really make of this performance?
Yeah, see, it's one thing here where he's 30 in Daniel Allen, but only 5 total professional fights. It's not like Kaynan, who's 32 but has, 17 fights and fought in all these
Mhm.
organizations. So there was a big difference here. Obviously, there wasn't a finish, of course, for Daniel. It was a very clean performance to defy those underdog odds. Dana kind of was pretty honest with him. He's like, I know you don't want to hear me up here bullshitting with you, but I'm going to cut it to you straight. All this about DC. I believe Daniel trains at AKA, so I'm sure DC's ran into him plenty at their gym out in California. There's a bright side, and he told him that you keep going, get a few more fights, we can easily see you in the UFC. I'd imagine that that's got to be frustrating to hear, but even myself on these recaps has said that exact same thing about people that didn't get contracts. Very good, clean performance. I can definitely see Daniel Allen in the UFC within the next 1 to 2 years for sure.
Dare I say, Dominic, Dana went on that big long spiel about, just go get as many fights as you can. Will not surprise me if, like, tomorrow he's announced for, like, some short notice
He
spot
fights in
for
3
an
weeks.
upcoming
Yeah.
UFC fight.
Yeah.
And that's why, because I know that that's probably what's going to end up happening, I just don't know if I'd give him a contract, but I don't know if my reasoning would be the lack of
Like what he said.
professional experience. Yeah, like I'm just thinking of this from his perspective, right? And I know he is not necessarily the one that matchmakes every single fight. Like, he's not the matchmaker. He's got 2 matchmakers. They're the ones that kind of do this. But to say all that, and then it feels like Daniel Allen's going to be on a short list of guys who are going to get a call if someone needs an opponent. If you really believe that you need more experience to be in the UFC, why don't you show that by, not giving guys like this an immediate entryway? I mean, I'm all about opportunity. Go earn it, right? Especially when you're talking getting short notice replacements and stuff. But there needs to be like a standard for the UFC. And I feel like the UFC have lowered their standard so far.
Yeah, they'll just like grab people, right? Who's ever ready if you're willing.
You go back 10, 15 years ago, I feel like you had a much higher standard. Obviously, the level of MMA has grown so much.
More fighters.
But I think because of that, you have like over 500, 600 fighters on the roster. I mean, are half of those really like, I don't know. I'm not in their position, but
I get what you're saying though. Or are they just there to fill the
the bottom 200, 250 are just rotating in and out. Like the guy loses, bring a new guy in, rinse and repeat. So with that being said, it was a little surprising that I not see Dana focus a little more on the underdog aspect of this fight, because he tends to do that.
Yes, he does.
And I felt like Jacobi Jones seemed to have a lot of hype coming in. I mean, you heard them on commentary. Apparently, Lorosenko was really high on him. I heard people on Twitter talking about him. And Daniel Allen made this look pretty easy. So
yeah,
I would say that might I take that into account. I don't know how much it'll actually affect his power ranking, because it's just a tough week to really make that like a priority. But I think he might have deserved just a little more credit than
a little bit more.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Main event, the big boys, heavyweight. This was a fun 2 minutes.
It didn't take long to get going. About 10 seconds.
Shamil Gaziev, straight out of Dagestan, gets the first round submission. Dagestan submission. Say it ain't so. 2 minutes, 38 seconds into round number 1 over Greg Velasco. In the first 10 seconds of the fight, Shamil throws a right hand that I thought might finish the fight right there. I
thought it was done. Yeah.
And then, Dominic, I swear I turned my back for 1 second after that shot, and all of a sudden Shamil was on the bottom. What happened? I swear I turned my back. I turned around for 1 second just to like throw something away, and I come back and he's on his back. What happened?
You know, it was funny. I was sitting there and I'm like, for the 2 minutes worth of grappling that we got, and I'm sitting there thinking in my head, we really never really get to see grappling at the heavyweight division. We don't get to see it very much.
And anytime you do, like, there are good heavyweight grapplers, but when you do see it, it always looks so much less than what any other division offers. That's something that has to be weighed at a curve. Like, because it just never looks right.
Yeah.
When I see a couple guys that are like, I mean, they're lighter than me, but I imagine seeing a couple of me's wrestling around. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like there's not a whole lot of art behind that. It just looks
the
like
flow.
Two sloppy Joes just slamming hams against each other.
Yeah, Greg went down like a sack of potatoes, recovered, got into the body triangle over Shamil. It looked like he was trying to lock in a sub, but then Shamil stayed very patient, rolled through, ended up on top. then ends up getting to Greg's back and getting a rear naked choke. So they just flip-flopped every single situation. 11-0 for the big fella. 33 years old. Dana didn't mention his age, but he is undefeated. 10 out of his 11 wins are by finish. He's trained with Cyril Gahn. I think he's helped him train for a few fights. So there's something there to it. Heavyweight, not very deep. Probably takes 2 or 3 fights, and Shamil's fighting, a Jake Collier, and then he wins that and gets into the top 15, right? I mean, that's the type of situation we're probably looking at here.
Parker Porter debut.
Parker Porter, yeah.
Jake Collier, Muhammad Usman.
I'm sorry, no, but Andrei Arlovsky. I'm sorry.
No. That's Arlovsky should retire. So I'm gonna make you take that back because he will be retired by then. Yeah. How do I want to say this? Shamil looked great, and he's a heavyweight, and he has everything. Like the
he's got one punch power.
Evidently, he's got the power. We know he's gonna have that grappling going. Tell me they didn't kind of feed him an opponent that wasn't really UFC caliber here.
It felt that way. It felt like a couple weeks ago there was a heavyweight fight that I felt the competition.
Something seemed amiss
there
when they showed when I saw old Greg come walking out. I went, something seems off here, but you give the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Never forget my boy Huggy Bear. He loves looking like a guy who doesn't belong, and then he will do something wild and win a fight.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I was like, you know what? I'll give old Greg the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we're gonna see a spinning wheel kick like Huggy Bear did.
Yeah.
Not what happened. Instead, I don't know if Greg just thought, us big guys, we don't typically have necks. We just kind of have a lot of chins.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if he thought he was incapable of being choked out due to his lack of a neck.
Yeah.
But when that choke got in, my man was just like, all right.
DC was flabbergasted.
I know.
DC
I mean, props. I guess he's just like, well, I guess that's it.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm surprised he stayed in it that long. Like,
he was like, let's see how long I can stay in before I go unconscious. It was like he was having a competition.
I want to know what was going through his head. Like, was he thinking, I'm gonna allow him to put me to sleep. Like I go out before I tap out, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when he started to go out, he's like, oh, wait a minute. No. Like tap.
Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah. It was weird.
Or did he think that he was doing something that was going to, did he think, he could just
gas
sit
out
there?
Shamil's arms.
Yeah, Shamil's arms. Like I don't know what was going through his head.
Yeah.
Here. That was kind of where it really felt like, okay, they've really kind of fed Shamil, someone probably not UFC caliber right now. No disrespect to Greg Velasco. I mean, he did kind of turn that fight around at least for a minute.
Right.
But Shamil though does look like the real deal at heavyweight. That's one mean looking son of a bitch.
Big
too.
dude. Yeah. He's got all the tools.
The man's got hair everywhere but his damn head. That's gotta be a sad fucking fate.
Yeah.
Like Dominic, really think about it. Like imagine Dominic, you're a very hairy guy. I'm talking like you have a hard time shitting out of your ass because
sure
the hair just blocks it from coming out.
Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Imagine that you have hair everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And then you're just bald on top.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Shamil's not quite bald, but like,
close enough.
So to grow hair everywhere that you would not really want to have that much hair, and then the one spot,
right?
The one spot, the crown jewel, the dome,
yeah,
you can't grow a lick of it.
Yeah,
that feels like God smited you.
Yeah, and I mean, in this profession, cage fighting, can't wear a wig; it's gonna fall off. So,
you cannot wear a wig.
You got to work with what
that
you're
would
with.
Be interesting. I couldn't even imagine what I would think if you're watching a fight. Someone grabs a hold of a hair, all of a sudden the wig comes flying off. I don't even know, man. That's wild. Yeah. Anyways, power rankings. So Dominic, I think these should be pretty straightforward.
I think for the first time in 7 weeks, we're gonna agree on every spot.
I think we are too. We're gonna start from the bottom.
Okay, so start at 4. Okay.
Well, I guess we're starting with 5, but I think our 5's gonna be Luciano or Alencar.
Yeah, I forgot to. I didn't have it on there, and then he gave her a contract, and then I didn't put her on. But yeah, she was 5. Yeah.
Well, either one of them. I mean, I know he gave her
Either
a
one.
contract, but I
Sure.
mean, we'll give Talita her credit. Like she was in a draw. She didn't lose this
Yeah.
fight.
Right.
So yeah, I think for number 5, I thought there was a chance you might try to put Luciano a little bit higher, just because you seem to
Yeah.
be behind the con. You seem to. I mean, you agreed with the contract, right?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
You just liked what you saw. Like maybe bring her back again, but
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
Okay.
I was shocked he did the contract.
Okay. I must have missed your. I mean, my God, Dominic, would it
I
hurt
didn't
you
show it, I
to show a
guess.
little bit? You're like, I have never been more disgusted by a Dana White opinion in my life. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, so number 5, the women's fight,
Yeah.
because we are sexist pigs. Number 4,
Daniel Allen.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I said I was like this is just a tough week to give him the bump.
Mm-hmm.
After all my white knighting for Daniel Allen, where I was just like in his corner, like, how dare you, Dana? Give that man more credit. I'm probably not going to give him a contract either, but I would. It's closer in my mind than I felt like. I mean, Dana did kind of do a lot of talking, which maybe he was on the fence, but didn't seem like it. Like it seemed like he was just pretty committed to not giving him the contract, but like thought, this guy like did have a good performance. I want to give him some like words of
like keep your head up. Yeah.
Like he did. What was that like 2
He's
weeks
done it like
ago?
8 times this year.
Yeah, like he just loves being like this kid, 14-2, 26 years old.
We'll see you in 3 years.
85% finishing rate.
Yeah.
Keep your head up, kid, and just get back out there. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay. Way to just honey dick this one.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Shamil.
Ooh, we did not agree. Kaynan.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be the division aspect of this.
Yeah.
I sort of believe Dana. I think Kaynan's fighting Justin Gaethje in his debut. No, I took what Dana said as a threat. I did not take that as, hey, welcome to the UFC. It was like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
it's like
Beneil Dariush, first fight.
Yeah, here's Michael Chandler. While he waits for Conor McGregor. Yeah, I mean, I thought he was really good. Like he probably had the most complete performance of the night. I thought.
Yeah,
I would say it was the most complete, the most dominant, like and complete that I'm giving a contract to. I'm just
Kaynan. Yeah,
I'm just putting him down because I think the other 2 guys, while not as clean necessarily, I think the divisions they're in need the talent, and I think I believe in their talent.
I like
lightweight's
that.
just so stacked,
It's so stacked. It's not easy, especially the way that Dana was hyping up Kaynan. I am looking at it here. I am kind of surprised in myself for putting the heavyweight guy that's in a division that's not as deep.
Dominic, you've done it every time this season. I think heavyweights.
I think, and again, I'm blanking on what freaking fight it was, but there was another heavyweight fight where the matchup just felt so one-sided. The competition was not as good.
There's one that sticks out in my head. I can't remember who it was.
I'm blanking on names, but I'm leaning here too. Like Shamil looked good, but the competition I felt wasn't the greatest.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I would definitely use that against him in other cases. I guess I really liked what I saw. I guess even though it's weird, like it wasn't completely perfect. Like he did kind of get his back taken. It just I never really felt like he was in any real danger.
No. Not at all.
Even when he had his back taken, like it was just so awkward looking. This is the point. This is what I'm talking about with heavyweight grappling.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't look very threatening.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dominic. Have you ever noticed like there are certain things that you do in this world, in this life, that it is impossible to make look threatening?
Okay. Yeah.
Like drinking from a straw.
And what?
Yeah.
You cannot do that menacingly.
Yeah.
Like if someone's like,
I guess you can.
Like imagine someone's like, yo, motherfucker, you talking shit?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Eating a banana can't be done.
Yeah, you pee.
And I'm not even talking like the, haha, look at you eating a dick. Like over there,
Right. Yeah.
Like I ain't talking about that. It's just like you're eating a banana. Like you just like, how are you gonna make that look menacing? I mean, I will say though, the closest Drake and Josh episode, they are in the back of the cop car. The bank robber hijacks the cop car.
Okay, I'm in the
episode. Go back to Drake and Josh's house.
Yeah.
and he invites his buddies over, and they're like not telling him that they live there. They're like, "Yo, we're planning to rob this house."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then they're trying to think of a way to get the robbers out of their house. So then they pretend like they get in a big fight,
Mm-hmm.
and Drake bites off Josh's hand, which is just some like rubber hand, and then he beats him over the head with the banana.
With the banana.
Hey, don't beat that boy with the banana.
That's the closest I've ever seen to someone looking pretty menacing with a banana, but he was not eating it. So, anyways,
How did we get there?
yeah,
Igor,
this
number
is
one.
going off the rail. Yeah, Igor number one, right? I mean,
20
it's
years
gotta be.
old, man.
Flyweights. I had to show my love.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
I thought about
The
wearing
dude's
the
legit.
Pantoja shirt just for Igor da Silva.
Yeah.
A name like Igor,
Igor.
kind of a badass name.
True. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I'd love to see him get a fight in before the end of the year. 125 pounds, dude. You said it earlier. You know, it doesn't take long before you're in there with the top 15, top 10, if you will. So Igor's going to be there quicker than what he may expect.
100%. I just want to remind everyone, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you thought of Week 7 of Dana White's Contender Series.
Yep.
Who would you give contracts to? Are you giving Stephanie Luciano a contract? Did you see that sparkle that Dana saw in her eye? Let us know. We'll be back here at this time next week to go over Week 8. So we will see you all then.